you take toward a world that works for future generations? And if you would like to take about, we will take about 5 minutes to write your thoughts down. You can do that on paper, or if you'd like to do it on in the chat and just hold it, you can share in your rooms, I believe, with the people who you'll be talking with for about 15 minutes. We'll have about 5 minutes of quiet music here. Oh. You may need to turn that down.
Okay, that was wonderful so far. So I'm really looking forward to the breakout rooms. Um, so we're going to have 15 minutes. We're going to have 3 rooms. One is going to be facilitated by Matine Kashev, another one by Carrie Dwen and her grandfather, and Kian will also be in that room. And then we're going to have some of the participants will remain behind in the plenary. So how it works is that when I click for the breakout rooms to start, you should see a pop-up inviting you to go to the room. If you don't see a pop-up, that means that you are in the plenary and you'll stay here. And I think Sue wanted to say just a little bit about how we're planning to record all of these conversations. And she wanted to say a little bit about how these recordings will be used so that you are aware of how it will be used.
Okay, yes. Well, I mentioned that the project we're doing with the Interfaith Climate Group is part of a pilot project with the University of Florida Extension. And what we'll be doing is inviting people in the faith community to initiate an interfaith climate conversation using the networks that we've been working with since 2013, and then making that a model so that other people can bring their strengths into this process over time. So we hope if you're comfortable with the recording of your talks, that would help us to inspire others to take part in this climate conversation.
Okay, are we ready to go? Are we all ready, or does anyone have any questions? Nope, so let's go into our breakout rooms.
Hey.
All right. Okay, so your breakout rooms are open. You can all go to your rooms. If you didn't get a pop-up, it means you're staying in this room. And it looks like almost everyone has gone to their rooms. There's only one person, Leesta Montgomery. Are you able to see the pop-up that is asking you to join a room, room 2? There she goes.
Oh.
All right. So we're here.
So here we are. And I'm so happy everybody's here. I'm going to just kind of take a step back and let you all begin, and we'll just let it flow where it does.
So you can unmute yourselves now.
And if everybody wants to just put your the view on the top right, if you click it so that you see gallery view, you can see all of us
Right.
at once.
I see Keith. Hi, Keith. I see Tarani, Smile, Kathy, Phil, Joanne, and Wendy. Anyone wants to share some thoughts on the devotional and what's really struck out at them? Don't be shy. Joanne.
Did you call on me? The question was, what can I do? Is that correct? What can I do to be part of this process? Well, I listed a lot of things that I'm sure everyone is doing. Composting, recycling, using earth-friendly products, teaching these concepts to my grandchildren. But I would say something that I've added recently is to expand my associations beyond my own existing comfort circle. And especially with COVID, it's been very easy to just stay safe and sound at home. Mm-hmm. And it has really limited my contact with people that I don't know. So I'm reaching out to neighbors in different ways. And I had an opportunity recently to talk with some liquidators. Our neighbor died and she had no family close by. Her brother decided to just have a company come in and clean out her house. And the gentleman said that a large dumpster would be put in the driveway. And I said, well, what's going to go in the dumpster? And he said, anything we can't auction off. And I said, so what, clothing, shoes, bedding, things like that? And he said, oh yes, that's all going in a dumpster and going to the landfill. And I said, you know, I'm very uncomfortable with that. And there's many people who need those kinds of things. Would you redirect them to me and let me redirect them to where they could go to help others? He brought hundreds of bags of things across the street to our house.
Wow.
And I spent over a month with my granddaughter, my son, and another friend. And we sorted and we laundered and we rebagged and packaged things and got them to all different levels of people who could use them. And I did a PowerPoint about the process and sent it to the man that was the head of the liquidators. And he sent me a very kind message. And at the end, he said, you know, would you be interested in associating with us again in that way? Because I could tell that your spirit of service is something you love to do. And I thought, if I hadn't been brazen and just asked what's going to go in the dumpster, I just can't believe the things. And we did sell things. We made over almost $2,000 from selling some of the handbags and the coats. That's the only things we sold. And we gave money to an educational entity in Tanzania and to a health project in Honduras, started by some other Peace Corps volunteers. And it had a huge impact. And it felt so good to just be in my own little home with my own little group of people, but knowing that it was going to affect a positive change environmentally, socially, and with basic essentials for many people. So I call that redirecting items from destruction to people who need them. And that's something that's just brand new to my experience. I'm 72 and I never had such an opportunity like that before. And I'm looking forward to more association. Thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Joanne. What I'd like to do, I'm going to put the questions in just as a reminder. I didn't do that earlier. But who else had something come up for them that they'd like to share? Joanne, that was so meaningful. Thank you.
Thank you.
If I may quickly share something that came up for me, I always remember, especially every time I go into a bathroom, like a public bathroom, a friend of mine who said once that, you know, she makes a point of every time she goes into a space, she tries to leave it a little cleaner than she came in and found it. So every time I go into a public bathroom, after I'm leaving, before I leave, I start to clean up. Like if I see something on the floor or the sink looks dirty, or it's just a habit that I've gotten into now. And it's just from one person that told me this, and it struck me so hard. And then there's something also that was in one of the readings that said, we know that the earth will be here long after we are gone. So it's unconscionable for us to dirty it and not try to find ways that will sustainably keep it cleaner and useful for those who are coming, after us. That's what stuck out at me.
Thank you.
This is Wendy,
Yes. Hi.
and I have a small example in comparison so far, but it made me think of something that I've also become aware of during the pandemic, during the last 6 months. And I've realized that things that we thought that we really needed were more maybe wants and really not all that needed at all, and maybe not so much of it. Like, I'll give you a silly example. This is really kind of off the wall, but I don't even know if I should say it. But anyway, I needed to blow my nose. So I had this Kleenex and I blew my nose and I threw the Kleenex away, and I thought, I wasted a half of a Kleenex. So now I tear them in half and I'm thinking, oh, now Kleenex only costs us half as much as it used to. And I know that's a real small thing, but it can grow into bigger things, and you can save money that way. And with the saved money, you can donate to the food bank. Or we recently sent a check to GoFundMe for someone that lost their home in the fire in Oregon. And I think that something like that, being really conservative about how we live and what's important and what's not important, and not getting carried away with wants, and focus more on needs and not wasting, I think can, grow into something small like that can perhaps grow into something big and helpful.
Mhm.
Wonderful. Thank you. Those simple things. I know I've just, my daughter started buying these paper towels that you can use just a quarter of it if you want. And we're learning. Another example I'm going to just throw in there is I'm now living with my daughter and realized I don't need my car.
Oh,
She's got 2 others in the yard. If I need to work something out and share, I don't need that car anymore. And so it's up for sale.
wow.
I
I'm
see
with-
Miles got her fingers up. But Phil and Kathy took their mics off mute. So did you want to say something, Phil or Kathy? No?
No, I'm good. I'm very grateful for this, though. I just wanted to say, because I've been working on living sustainably for a long time, but I feel like I'm now working on creating a more spiritual way to deal with things, because otherwise I find that I get angry at other people, like, you're so wasteful. And I want to do it in a more spiritual and kind and gentle nature.
Nice.
And I see Rosemary joined us. I don't know if we wants to say anything. Rosemary wasn't here. You didn't make it to the devotions, right?
No, I didn't make it to the devotions. I don't know. It just seems like I have more to do since I'm in a virtual environment. I do go out occasionally, like to the store and other places, but I just wanted to introduce myself. I'm glad that I did make it, because these are such wonderful stories. I live in Washington, D.C., and I've been a Baha'i for many years. I want to have you, Niki, have you lived in D.C. area before?
Never, ever.
Familiar. Anyway, I'm happy to meet all of you. I took several classes with Wilmette Institute, so
Cool.
yeah,
Welcome.
I
Glad you're here.
enjoyed them all. It was just a very interesting journey.
Rosemary, this is Joanne. I'm just up the road in Silver Spring.
Oh,
So
that was very interesting, your story. I'd like to see that list that you, or process you compiled, for the movers.
I can put my email address in the chat if you want. And
Okay.
you can email me and I'll send you the link to the PowerPoint.
Definitely email you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And that's a wonderful thought. What I'd like to do is invite you to send that also to me, so we can put that into our resource list, which we'll make available at the end.
Nice.
Okay.
Smile, you're outdoors. You want to say something? I love the smile.
Yeah, aloha
Smile
pa.
dances.
Aloha, aloha, aloha. It's so great to be here present. I am in Mexico right now, and I have been traveling around. I'm actually heading to China to pioneer, and I'm so grateful for this opportunity to just be, present and in devotion with each and every one of you for Pachamama, our Aina, our land, and our earth. And this is our one world that we get to share. And it's really super important for us to come together and really bring awareness in what the issues are that are happening today. And it is in utmost gratitude because, with the fires right now as well, like we were mentioning, that are happening, it's been very severe. I've been in California prior to this, and you can feel the difference of the air quality. And I've been trying my best to spiritually definitely send out the vibration and energy that is necessary to bring rain, or to just be able to be a helping hand spiritually. And that's how we can really continue to elevate each other and bring joy and fruition to our future generations. And I am a very thankful, in utmost gratitude, dance teacher. And I love to incorporate environmental health in my dance movement. So this is something very, healing for all of us to be able to be sharing. And I'm just very grateful, that we are continuing to elevate each other and help each other be guided to share these stories that is happening right now and how we can be the difference. So thank you everyone for your story. And I'm grateful that we're here together, and I continue to send everyone, an abundance of prayers so we can continue to awaken others as well to see their spiritual light and shine oh so bright.
Now we've given everybody a couple minutes extra because 15 minutes has just gone. If Keith or Tarani would like to say anything, or Phil, who still hasn't said anything. If not,
I will speak
go
up.
ahead.
I took myself off of mute kind of accidentally because I'm teaching myself Zoom so that I could be a facilitator in this mode. In my life, I've thought a lot and done a lot regarding the environment. And it boils down to my conclusion, which is education is the most important. And I have spent now decades, especially in the last 10 years, teaching children. And I'm going to continue to do that. And it appears that in this new world, which we've all entered, that might be one of the better avenues. Changing the minds of older folks proves to be a bit more difficult, but if one can mold and help the younger people cope with their environment, I don't mean physical environment, I mean their entire life environment, and help them grow and nurture them with tools that will assist them in the future. I believe this is probably one of the better ways to go.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Okay.
I want to share something that was put into the chat. It's from John in another group. It occurs to me that the necessity of physically embodying those values and principles found in all the holy writings need to be stressed over the simple belief, one's obligation to walk that talk. On another note, everyone believes in world peace, but we have none. Brings me to mind that people may believe the necessity but don't know how to accomplish it. Hence, my plan is to create those models that serve the objectives, invite others to join me, then implement them to learn and through continuous improvement, make the models better. So I'm with you, John. That's what we're about, is bringing the people together to share what works, what is inspiring them to take action. What are the specific actions that they're taking? How can other people join in? And so our work with this climate collaboratory that we're developing with the University of Florida is to show the models. And certainly we have heard many examples of who's doing what in little ways, and sharing the little and big models that we all are learning. We're all learning how to work together in this changing world of ours. So it's wonderful to see everybody coming back now.
Yes. I wonder if I might just share a quote before we start back into the plenary session. It just reminded me of something when Smile talked about her dancing and how how she's using that as a means of I suppose, I don't know, invigorating her inner life. So that reminded me of this quote from Shoghi Effendi, who said, "We cannot segregate the human heart from the environment outside us and say that once one of these is reformed, everything will be improved. Man is organic with the world. His inner life molds the environment and is itself also deeply affected by it. The one acts upon the other, and every abiding change in the life of man is the result of these mutual reactions."
Beautiful. Well, this has been such a gift for me to be able to bring people together to share these words of wisdom from the Baha'i writings, from the world's religions, from the climate statements of all these different groups that are working together on the same goals. We want a world that works, where we can live together in peace. And so I wonder if there are any comments that came up in the small groups that you would like to share with the whole group.
Caradwen and her grandfather, anything there?
Yeah, sure. What I noticed is that maybe with other groups as well, our group, I expected it to just be like people from, like Gainesville, wonderful, then some people from Waldo, and then some people from Stark, like all small towns just joining up in one clump, and this is Florida, But what I realized is that like Keon's from Arizona. There was another wonderful woman from Africa, Senegal. It was just great that all of us shared the same type of idea, the same like religious thinking, just like our discussion. I didn't realize that time was passing, and I was just agreeing with every single thing that people said. And it just brings me hope and brings me joy that we can all join together to kind of just have the same ideas, and we're kind of beginning to form a solution for this climate change thing, because we're coming together from all over the world to agree on one simple thing, which is we need to make a change and we need to speak out and do something. So that just brings me hope.
I would like to also take probably a minute that Olivera, if you would like to just share some of the ideas that you discussed with the group. Do you hear me, Olivera?
Elvira?
Elvira.
Elvira, yeah. Yes.
Yes, sure. Well, first of all, I wanted to say that I was very happy to join this group. I didn't know really how it worked. I work in Africa. I'm based in Dakar, but I'm Eritrean and Italian. That's my background. So I've always lived all my life in Africa. And I was explaining my dear friends, because now they are friends since we were together in the breakup room, that you know, the way we perceive climate change is different depending on whether we are in the academia world or we are just a simple farmer in his own land, or whether, for example, I work with the UN, and the way we have been regarding climate change, considering that especially in West and Central Africa, climate change is one of the main drivers to food insecurity and poverty. It is regarded mainly as an external factor to which we need to reduce the effect, the negative effect, the impact on people's lives, on the ability of farmers to produce and feed their families, or à la limite, something that we need to adapt to. But it's really never about, we haven't yet started, even within the UN or within you know, the governments and the people we work with, the communities. We have not started regarding climate change as something that it is a man-made situation that we can reverse if we just change our tools, our awareness, our model and framework for action. So that's all I was sharing, and I'm very excited to be part of this group, because this gives me the opportunity to see how the religious, the spiritual principles can be applied in finding really practical solutions to finding solutions really to of course curb the effect of climate change, but also to to reset a little bit our way of looking at nature and the environment we operate in. And one thing that really struck me from today's presentation was this, you know, I myself, I want to leave a positive mark for the future generations and respect what I have been endowed with, which is, you know, a beautiful world with a lot of resources. And we have been endowed with capacity to use those resources, but we need to do it in a way that we can leave even a better place to those who will come. Thank you.
Thank you. How lovely. How wonderful to have you here with us. And I think I need to introduce my friend, Dr. Ugoje, who is also with the United Nations in New York City. And so we are working together on what we call a seed idea to grow in our gardens of global unity, but that's another whole story. We're growing a seed idea in the climate collaboratory with the university. So Ugoji, maybe you could explain just a little about your background and what we're going to be working on together, and would love to have this group help with.
Oh, thank you very much. Hope you can hear me. Thank you so much, Sue. Thank you for inviting me. Hello, Niki. How are you? As Sue said, I'm actually, first and foremost, I'm a lawyer, an international lawyer from the UK. I'm with the UN as a NGO, part of the NGO. I've particularly focused on the impact of climate change and water disasters in Africa and the Caribbean. The reason I focus on Africa and the Caribbean is I am of mixed heritage, of a Nigerian father and a Cuban mother. So I particularly focused on Africa and the Caribbean. I had a virtual high-level meeting in July in which we focus on building back better, risk-informed COVID-19 recovery and rehabilitation and strengthening resilience to climate change related disasters in Africa and the Caribbean. Now, the objective of this meeting was to articulate possible solutions to the effect of climate-related disasters on vulnerable people in Africa and the Caribbean, and to address these challenges, and also to ensure that the effect of COVID-19 and the increasing frequency of climate-related disasters do not result in leaving people behind. Now, the Sustainable Development Goals of 2030 speaks in terms of leaving nobody behind, and also Africa Agenda 2063. Now, I, for one, do not believe that these goals can be achieved based on the fact of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic. Now, the questions we really have to ask as regards Africa and the Caribbean is how can the African and Caribbean countries develop and indeed implement policies and programs to strengthen preparedness, build resilience, reduce forced migration, and reduce disaster risk as part of the decade of action and delivery for the Sustainable Development Goals. And above all, what can the international community do to support Africa and the Caribbean, and also the small island and developing nations in terms of capacity, knowledge, access to latest science and technology? Now, we're all aware, we take it for granted, we live in the West, that we have the latest science and technology. In these developing countries, they do not have it. And also as regards the issue of financing instruments to develop and implement multi-hazard and multi-sectorial disaster risk reduction strategies that include climate and above all pandemics. We've seen this COVID-19, it is a global pandemic and it's here to stay and it's not going to go away. We have to ensure that Africa, the Caribbean, and small islands and developing nations are not left behind. And I'm looking forward to working with Sue and her initiatives and raising awareness of climate change and water disasters, more particularly in Africa and the Caribbean. Thank you.
Thank you, Rosie. Beautiful.
I have a question.
Yes.
May I ask Dr. Easy, where I attended the UN opening conference for UN 75 last week. And I wonder, are these, there was climate on the agenda. I didn't go to that because I was interested in, I'm concentrating on civil discourse, you know, involving citizenry. But I was interested, were these the things that were ideas that were covered? Or can you say something about what was covered at that meeting that we'll hear more?
Sorry, what I just spoke about was basically a high-level program I hosted in July with several member states. I was bringing it to the attention of the international community, more particularly the UN, of ensuring that Africa and the Caribbean were not left behind. This was basically my own initiative, which was hosted on July the 23rd on Zoom. I could send you the link if you would like it.
It's very important, very, very important.
Yes, because Africa, most particularly the Caribbean nations, we tend to be left behind, you know, and it needs to be brought to the forefront of the community, especially from the point of view of preparedness and disaster risk reduction.
Absolutely, absolutely. Is this part of the new agenda?
Well, I think what we're going to have to do is continue this conversation, and that's kind of the point, that what we have started today is a climate conversation that we will be continuing, hopefully with Wilmette Institute. We now have your emails, so we can invite you to the next session. I'm most interested in working with young people and the what we call a collaborative storytelling adventure. Every one of us has our own story that we are telling. And we, as a human family, have a story that we are telling. And so that's the purpose of our Climate Emergency Conversation to Action program. We will be doing the pilot program in Florida, but of course, as that develops, it will apply anywhere in the world. So we hope you will stay tuned. I do have this list of resources that I'd like to give to you as we close out. I will put that in the chat, but I will also include it in the follow-up email that goes out after our that Niki will be sending out probably tomorrow. Yes.
Yes, we can post the whole resource if you like on the website, and I can send out to everyone a link to that. You can invite your friends, and there will be, I think, a link to that Interfaith Climate Group last Sunday of the month. We'll put the link in there as well. The story of stuff is wonderful for anyone who has not seen it yet.
Yes.
So we'll do that.
So let me, yeah. Sorry, I'm looking for the link, but I will get that into the, we'll have that for you. Sorry, I don't have it at the moment. So I thank you all. This has been just a lovely, lovely gathering. I thank you for your insights and your wonderful experience as we all continue on this journey into the future. So thank you, Niki.
Thank you. Thank you. Martine, Caradwen, everyone, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Aloha, blessings.
You were muted for half of that, so it just sounded like I love